Well, hello there, folks. Welcome to this video, which is all about how can you prep for a corporate workshop or any kind of internal workshop training as the best way possible as a master trainer or somebody that really knows what the fuck they are doing, right? You see, the thing is, folks, there are multiple stages to actually rolling out a workshop. And we need to be able to understand what are the core things that we need to think about, check, and just get a handle on squared away before we rock up on the day, right? And workshop success often comes back to all the pre-work that you actually do, not just what you do on the day. As you know, my name is Mark Miles, and I love helping trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators really take their results to the next level. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you all about workshop planning for master trainers. Workshop planning for master trainers, right? And this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, simply because there's so much to go through and there's so many things to mention. So get a pen, get ready to write, and just strap in for a little bit of a download of wisdom based on my experience of running workshops on site and also internally and also online and face to face over the last 12 years, right? And so definitely get ready to take in some information and know that there will be multiple bullet points that I'm going to go through. And I'm also going to separate this video into a number of sections, right? So get ready because we're going to go on a bit of a journey. All right. So the first stage for planning any workshop at all is essentially the questions that you're going to ask the client in your training needs analysis, right? So I'm going to go through each of the questions that I love to ask, and I'm going to explain my reason for asking those particular questions, right? So we got the training needs analysis, and then we're going to look at what do you do the day before the workshop? What do you make sure that you've got a handle on? Then I'm also going to talk about what do you do on the day of the actual workshop, like the morning of. And I'm also finally going to talk about how do you actually leave a lasting positive impression, right? So there's a little bit to get through. So let's jump straight into it, right? So the first thing that we want to look at is the training needs analysis itself. First question I'm going to ask is, what is the core outcome that you're looking for with the training? What's the core outcome that you're looking for from the training? What's the core outcome? Is it this? Is it that? What is the core outcome that you're looking for? All right, so that's question number one. Question two. Next, what inspired the need for the training? What inspired the need for the training? That's a really important question to ask because maybe it was underperformance. Maybe it was a compliance issue. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was something else, right? So you want to understand what inspired the need for the workshop. All right. Next one. What prior training has been delivered on this topic already? What prior training has been delivered on this training already? Reason you want to ask this is essentially what's been tried, what's been delivered that hasn't worked, right? The reason for that is you probably don't want to go in and do exactly the same thing. Or if it has worked, you may want to continue doing something in a very similar vein there, right? Next question. Where will it be? Where will it be? Will it be on site? Will it be online? Will it be at a boardroom? Will it be at a training area? Where will it be? You really want to understand where will it be, and then you need to think in your own mind, would that actually be the best place to run the training that they're kind of looking for or that you're thinking of delivering? Next one, how long would you like it to run for? What kind of time frame are you able to dedicate to solving this problem via training? How long will it be? Or how long would be the ideal time frame? Because often what you think the time frame would be, should be, could be, may be very different to what the client is expecting. And the client may be expected to be able to fix the problem in like a day or two, and you may be thinking there's no way that you'd be able to deploy instant change in that period of time, right? So you want to align the time frames and think, is that going to be a possibility? All right. Next one. Will there be any members of the team? Will there be any members of the team that will not be able to attend the entire program or all of the sessions? Really important question to ask because if you want everybody on board, you need everybody on board the journey, so to speak, right? So you want to make sure that Bill and Ted and Frank and everybody is coming. And if they're not coming, what are they not coming to? All right, really important question to ask. Next one. How would you judge? How would you judge? This is asking the client. How would you judge the clients of the audience members' readiness to come along to the training? How would you judge their readiness or motivation to come along to the training? It's a really important question to ask because you want to know, are you walking into a cold environment, a frozen environment, a warm environment, or a hot environment where they can't wait to actually grab hold of your information and change for the long term, right? Or are you walking into an environment where people just really don't want to see you or don't want to hear about your topic? Where are they at on that scale? All right. So, what's their level of readiness to attend the workshop? What's their motivation level? Next one. And probably the most important question of the entire training needs analysis conversation. The most important question of all. So, definitely write this one down. All right, folks. So the question is, okay, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, looking back in 3 to 6 months' time, let's imagine we implemented this training. How would you know? How would you know that this training that we had provided had been successful? How would you know it had been successful? What would you be seeing, or what would the company be experiencing? And shut up. After you ask that question, it's very important that you just be quiet and listen. All right, listen to exactly what they say. Maybe they say, well, productivity would be up by X%. Maybe people would be saying these things, people would be doing these things, or all these things that they describe, write them down. Because the power of this question is going to elicit all of the success, I guess, success strategies that is, or expectations that's locked in the mind of the client, right? So it's so powerful. Such a great question. Looking back 3 to 6 months' time, how would you know that the training we provided had been successful? What would you be seeing? What would you be experiencing in the company? Then they're going to say XYZ, XYZ. Then you want to be saying, okay, what else? Is there anything else? How else would you be seeing success in the company? All right. So that is probably the most powerful training needs analysis question of all time. Next one, bit of logistics question here. Will there be a flip chart available? Really important, right? If you're someone that loves using flip chart, ask the question, will there be a whiteboard available? Kind of important to know. Will Wi-Fi be available? Probably an important question to ask, right? Will catering be provided? If so, what times? Will tea and coffee be provided? If so, what times? If it's not going to be provided, will there be a cafe nearby? Kind of an important question to ask, right? Because guaranteed your participants are going to be asking those questions. Next one, really, really important question. Will it be possible to put posters up around the room? Because if you're an engaging trainer, highly likely you're going to be using those flip charts. You're going to be putting flip charts around the room. But you want to get permission on that. And you want to make sure that the walls, if you put blue tack up on those walls, that the paint is not going to come off, right? Really, really important question to ask. And make sure that you don't upset any venues by ripping paint off the walls, right? Next one, layout of the room, right? So you want to be thinking with your content and you as a presenter trainer and the amount of people coming, what's the room layout going to be? What's the room layout going to be? Is it going to be U-shaped, theater style, classroom style? Is it going to be dinner table style? Is it going to be round tables? What kind of style of room layout are you walking into? And you want to be asking yourself, for the content you're delivering, what style do you want? And maybe you want to be telling the venue organizer what style you want, because guaranteed it may or may not always match what you actually want, right? So you can't ever assume that you're going to walk in and it's going to be set up just the way you want it, right? So do you want boardroom? Do you want U-shape? Do you want theater? Like, what do you want? Really important to get clear in your own mind. Next one, parking. Is parking going to be available for you and for participants, right? If it's on site, will you have access to parking? Will other people have access to parking? Again, why is it important? Because it's important to your participants. All right, next one. If you are co-delivering, it is so important that you have a good quality conversation with the other trainee that you're going to co-deliver with, right? And I've done another video on co-delivery and how to have that conversation with the other trainer. So definitely check out that video, and I may even drop the link in the description below, right? But it is so important that you have the co-delivery conversation. So that, folks, is a little bit about the training needs analysis conversation that you have with the client and the things to cover off, right? Now, I'm just going to summarize or close off that section by saying the question you don't ask comes back to bite you in the ass. The question you don't ask comes back to bite you in the ass, right? So there's been many times where I've gone along to deliver a workshop. Oh, I forgot to ask about Wi-Fi. Turn up on the day, there was none. I made the assumption about flip charts. Turn up on the day, there was none. Or I asked the question about whiteboards, and they turned up on the day, and the client's only whiteboard was like this small, and it was super hard to find, and it was just unusable, right? So the question you don't ask comes back to bite you in the, you can fill in the blank. Next one. Next section that we're looking at here is what to ask or what to check the day before. The day before, even a couple of days before your event. Next one. So, what to check. First thing, you want to be checking, do your videos work? Do your videos work? If you're showing any videos, do they work? And you may even want to back up your videos as well. So, you may want to have your videos on a USB and also on a OneDrive link, and yes, access from the internet if you need to, want to, right? But you've got to have your videos backed up and know that they actually work. Next one. You need to check, will you have access to the building or the site, and what will that look like, and what time will you have access, right? So you want to connect with the venue person, your contact person, and say, what time will I be able to get in, and how do I get in? Do I need a key card or anything like that? And you don't want to be rocking up on the day and find out the venue doesn't open until, say, 10 o'clock, but your workshop actually starts at 7:30. And then your audience is turning up and they're looking at you as like, well, we want to go in. And you're like, well, I don't even care. Awkward conversations, not a place you want to be, right? So how will you access the building, and what time will you access the building? Next one. Who do you call in the case of emergency? If something goes wrong or there's an accident on site, who are you going to call? Or if you've had something delivered, maybe materials, where are they? And how do you find them, right? So many times you turn up to a venue and apparently something's been delivered, but you're looking for it. The venue manager doesn't know where it is, and there's issues with deliveries, right? So who's your contact person? In the case of emergencies, who's your contact person to identify where your package or delivery it might be, right? So you want to check also, have any packages been delivered? Next one. You want to be the day before, you want to be checking your music playlist. If you're someone that plays music during your workshops, make sure that you check your playlist, make sure all songs work and your audio is good to go. Next thing, you want to be checking, do you have a backup of your slides and your materials? So have you emailed them to yourself? Do you have a paper copy just in case anything goes wrong with your slides? Next, you want to be checking your Wi-Fi. Will you have a backup Wi-Fi measure or strategy in case the Wi-Fi of the venue isn't working, right? So backup Wi-Fi. Next, have you checked the batteries? The batteries in your mouse. Have you checked the batteries in your remote clicker? Because you don't want to rock up and you're like, oh, my batteries are flat, right? Next thing, have you checked any updates on your computer? You don't want to rock up and the day of your workshop, like it's showing do an update. You're like, fuck, mate. Now's not the time for an update. So you want to be checking, have the updates been done on your computer? Next thing, are all the markers that you've got, are all of the markers working? Your butcher's paper, do you have that available? Do you have the big, thick markers? Are all the markers that you're going to hand out, are all of those working? Next thing, your suitcase, is it well packed? Are all of the functions of the suitcase, are all they good? And, are you going to be able to carry everything? Do a check on your suitcase, right? What else do we have there? Next one. Yeah, I think that's pretty much covered everything. Making sure that anything you are taking, you have a backup of, and it is all functioning and working, and you know exactly also how to get to the venue. Have you got the directions to the place, and have you printed them out just in case your phone doesn't work on the day as well? So all these things are making sure that you've got a plan A, B, and C, and you know exactly what to do if something goes wrong. All right. So next stage of the game here. What to do on the day. What to do on the day. All right. So on the day, you may be the kind of person or maybe in a context that requires you to do an acknowledgement of country, right? Whatever you think about it, let's just put that aside. It's a topic for another video for another time. But if you are required to do it, you may want to on the morning of just check out who are the people that you may need to pay respects to, right? So that's all I'll say about that. You may want to check that. Next one, do your vocal warm-ups along the way or on the way to the destination. Make sure that you warm up your voice so that you don't lose your voice halfway through the workshop. If you want to find out more about voice maintenance, check out other videos I've done on that, right? But you want to be doing your vocal warm-ups. Next, you want to have your own water supply so that you can drink water throughout your day. So make sure you got a water bottle. Really, really important. All right, don't assume the venue's going to have water available. Next one, arrive at least 1 hour beforehand. Arrive at least 1 hour beforehand, and maybe even allow an hour and a half to get there just in case traffic gets crazy, right? So make sure that when you arrive, you've got enough time to prepare. So don't be the trainer that is late, and don't be the trainer that arrives 5 or 10 minutes before you're about to start and be all freaked out and go, oh, what's the time? The last thing you want to be doing is still setting up when people are walking through your door, not what you want. Next, ideally, connect with the venue organizer or person responsible for the room as quick as possible and make a really powerful, positive impression and come across as a person that's going to be easy to work with, right? Don't be demanding anything that you ask for. Make sure that you ask for it in a very nice tone and know that you want to be the kind of client that's going to be easy to work for and with, right? Next thing, you want to check that the Wi-Fi is working. So you want to jump on that as quick as possible if you are going to use the internet through the day there, right? Next thing, make sure again you check your videos one more time to make sure all of your videos are working. Next, you want to be checking the speakers and the audio is working. Don't go and play music or videos and go, oh, freak out moment with audio, right? So you want to be checking that very consciously at the beginning of the day. Next thing, you want to be sitting. You want to try to sit in every seat or within reason throughout the room to make sure that every seat can actually see the screen that you're going to show. So make sure everybody's got visibility on anything and everything that you're going to show through your workshop, because you don't want people sitting there and not being able to see what you're actually showing. Next, check the furniture. Check the furniture to make sure all of the furniture is steady, right? You don't want people sitting in broken chairs or having things go wrong, right? You just want to make sure everything is fully functioning. Again, probably not your responsibility, but it will be your problem. If you don't get the furniture sorted and an accident happens, well, that's kind of on you for never checking, right? So next thing, you do want to find out where are the emergency exits and where to run in the case of emergency, all right? Next thing, a bit controversial, but many venues will put out lollies on the table or Mentos on the table. What you want to be doing is, as quick as possible, removing the Mentos. Take away any lollies that are on the tables, because you don't want people having sugar highs and lows throughout your training. So ideally, take away lollies from the table. It's another topic for another day, and in another video, I've talked extensively about really focusing on what are people eating and removing lollies as quick as possible, right? Really, really important that you don't get people falling into the trap of rewarding themselves through lollies and getting on that sugar high, because guaranteed you will see the mood and the energy go up and down every time people consume the lollies there, right? So next one, making sure there's water available for you and the participants. Make sure there's water available for you and the participants. Next, you may want to ask where the smoking section is if you can envisage having smokers in your training. Maybe a good thing to know, maybe a good thing to ask, right? Next thing, you may want to, if you need to, readjust the shape of the room. If you turn up thinking it was U-shaped, but it's actually classroom, and you need to change that, well, ask if it's possible to change that, right? So check the layout is as you wanted it to be there, right? Next, PowerPoints, right? So you want to make sure that people are using laptops at their desks or at their seats, that they have access to power, and if there's extension cords, make sure they're taped down. The other thing is make sure there's power available for you at the front of the room. If you need extension cords, make sure you pack them and you've got access to power as a presenter in the front of the room, right? Don't ever assume that your battery on your laptop is going to last, right? So check, will there be power available for you as a presenter? Next, lighting, and windows, right? So ideally, if you're in a room, you do want to close the curtains and make sure there is minimal distractions outside and minimal things that people are going to be looking at outside. Lighting, you want to make sure that it's bright enough, but not super bright. And you want to make sure that it's not so dark that people are going to fall asleep too soon, too quickly, if at all, right? So, but on the flip side, if you are running a meditation retreat, that's something to think about as well. Maybe there are times when you want to turn off the lights, right? But think about lights and windows and curtains and minimizing as many distractions as you can. Now, when you first start the workshop, though, probably about 5 to 10 minutes before you start, you want to start playing your fun music and create an upbeat atmosphere in the room there, right? So make sure your first song is fairly upbeat and fun. Next one, make sure that you know where the toilets are. Make sure you tell people where the toilets are within the first, 2 or 3 minutes, so everyone knows where they are and they can go if they need to. Don't forget also the tell them emergency exits, and the tea and coffee and all that fun stuff. Particularly so that you don't look like the idiot if there's an emergency or something's going wrong. Or if they ask you, where is it? You're like, well, I don't know. You're not probably going to look very professional at all there, right? So, next one. I'm just going to wrap up this section here by saying you want to make sure that you kill any elephants in the room. So, what I mean by this is essentially if you are presenting in a room that's a little bit unusual or different, hypothetically, maybe your company has rented out I don't know, maybe a restaurant or a very small room or something that is just a little bit off, right? You want to make sure that you get rid of any negative thoughts in people's minds as they are sitting there about to listen to you, right? So you may want to say something like, it may feel a little bit unusual to be behind a bar at a hotel. It may seem strange to be doing this workshop in XYZ environment, or it may feel a little bit unusual to be sitting in blah blah environment. And what we actually know, based on running the workshop in this environment multiple times, is it is such a great environment because we can actually achieve this, this, and this, and this that we couldn't do any other place, right? Or you may feel that there's a lot of distractions around us right now, and that is such a great thing because blah blah, right? So you want to kill any elephants in the room and make sure that you put a positive spin around anything unusual or unique that's specific to the environment that you're running a training in, right? Because in my experience, I've run training in some crazy places that I just didn't have any influence around. Like I've done it in staff lunchrooms, I've done it in pubs, I've done it in clubs, I've done it in so many different places, and people are sitting there going, well, what the? Why are we here, right? But I need to take self responsibility around that and go, okay, cool. It is what it is. It's what's been delivered to me. It's what the universe has brought to me. I just need to roll with it. And I made sure I killed the elephants in the room and made sure people were not feeling weird or uncomfortable. All right, so next one. So far we've talked about the training needs analysis. We've talked about what do you check the day before. We've talked about what do you check the morning of. And now we're going to talk about how do you create a long-lasting positive, positive impression on the venue, but also the client as much as possible. First thing, you want to deliver on the outcomes that you promise. You want to deliver on the outcomes that you promise, whether it's the outcomes to the training venue or the outcomes to the client themselves, right? So you want to deliver on those outcomes that you promise. Be very careful and very cognizant of what did you say you were going to deliver. Next one. This is a bit of a tough one because nobody really has excessive amounts of time, but ideally leave the room clean and tidy. Ideally, if you're going to leave it better than you found it, fantastic, right? So if you are leaving on the last day and you've got things on the on the posters all around the rooms, make sure you take the posters down, right? Just common courtesy. If it's in between the days after the venue, will it be okay to leave posters up overnight, right? Really, really important that you ask them so that you check they don't have anyone in the room after that time in between the week or the days or whatever it may be, right? So you want to have good, solid, clear communication around resources and how you leave the room. Next one, around the audiences and making sure they feel like they got value. At the end of the workshop, ask the learners, and maybe even each day, get them to do a learning inventory. I'll say it again, get them to do a learning inventory. What that means is get them to write down a list of 6 to 10 things that really stood out to them over the last 5 days. Or what were their 5 or 10 key learnings that really made a difference for them? Okay. So then you want to get them to share with each other what were the 10 things or the 5 things that they are going to go away and really think about. Next thing, as part of that, you want to get each member to share with each other and share with you what's one thing that they're going to go away and take an action on as a result of attending your workshop. This is really, really powerful because people start to embody the learnings that you've given them, but also it's focused on the change that's going to happen as a result of what you've taught them. It's not just sit there for 5 days and enjoy the experience. It's actually, what are you going to go out and new action is going to be taken as a result of what you've learned from the workshop. All right. So learning inventories and getting people to share their new action is a really, really powerful way to establish value in the receiver's mind. Right. Next thing, make sure that you connect with the venue person at the end of the day and say thank you. Maybe even give them a gift for putting up with you and the group, right? And just show, I'm so grateful for everything that you did and how much you went out of your way to help my event be super successful, right? If you do that, that person is definitely going to be excited about you coming back because they're going to feel like you get how hard it can be to host events, right? Venue people really often go out of their way or do extra things and they're not appreciated. So you want to be showing as much appreciation as possible on the last day and even throughout the event. If you've got an opportunity to acknowledge them during the event, definitely go out of your way to do that. Now, you do want to, as part of that conversation, let the venue person know, sorry, unfortunately, we broke a glass, or sorry, unfortunately, a chair was broken, or sorry, this section over here, some people accidentally stood on it, whatever it may be, right? But you want to make sure that you have clear communication and let the venue person know so that there's no surprises after you leave, right? Now, next and final thing, you want to make sure that you repack your suitcase in a very clear, concise, and efficient manner so that set up and ready to go for your next workshop going forward into the future, right? So that's how you stay organized. So I guess the question is, when you're planning or delivering or deploying yourself for a workshop, are you doing it as efficiently as possible? Are you covering all of these bases? If you are, fantastic. So hopefully by watching this video, maybe I've sparked some ideas, some thoughts in your mind, maybe some things that you hadn't thought about that going forward as a master trainer, you'll be able to get hold of and make sure that that thing, it's not something you face ever, right? So something as simple as having extra batteries for your mouse or extra batteries for your remote clicker. Something as simple as that can make so much difference, right? Do you have an extension cord in your suitcase, right? All of these things you learn from mistakes that you make over the years, right? So hopefully this has been valuable for you. Hopefully it sparks some ideas and things to think about going forward, whether it's in the training analysis, whether it's the stuff that you check the day before, whether it's the stuff that you check the day of, or if it's the things that you check throughout your training and even leaving on the last day there, right? Thanks so much for watching this video. Really, really appreciate it. As always, like, comment, share. Let's get the message out there. And my name is Mark Wiles, helping you become an even better trainer and presenter facilitator as you travel on your journey, having the big impact you want to have on your marketplace. Thanks for watching, team, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.